Hi, fourth grade. Today we're going to be practicing long division with problems that have 0 in the quotient. So remember, the quotient is up at the top of our problem. It's the answer to our division problem. So sometimes you're going to have a 0 up in your answer, and we're going to be looking at examples of problems today that do have zeros in the quotient. So this is not an example of that, but I wanted to talk about division in general just really quickly. So here's an example of a division problem, 264 divided by 2. And so what we're trying to do in this problem is we're trying to take this whole number, 264, and divide it into 2 equal groups. Okay, and so what we're essentially doing is we're dividing the hundreds place into 2 groups, the tens place into 2 groups, and the ones place into 2 groups. So up here we see a place value representation of the number 264. We have 2 hundreds blocks, 6 10 blocks, and 4 ones blocks. So we're going to take this 264 and we're going to divide it equally into 2 groups. So just like we would normally do any division problem, we first look at the hundreds place and we ask ourselves, what's 2 divided by 2? And we all know that that answer is 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 100 and I'm going to put it in this group. I'm going to take 100 and put it in this group. And then we would multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. We have no hundreds left over. We're done with the hundreds place. So we always bring down our next digit, which is our tens. So up here we see that we have 6 tens. So we have this new division problem that's asking us to divide 6 by 2. Okay, so we're going to take these 6 tens right here and we're going to divide it by 2, break it into 2 groups. And I know that 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I put my 3, and then I'm going to bring 3 into each group. So I need to have an equal number of tens in each group. So I see that I have 3 tens in each group. Okay? So far I have 100 and 3 tens in each of my groups. So we know that our next step after dividing is to multiply. So 3 times 2 is 6, and then we subtract 6 minus 6 is 0. So we have no tens left over. So since we have no tens left over, we're going to go ahead and bring down our ones. We have 4 ones, and again we have a new division problem, 4 divided by 2. Okay, well I know that 4 divided by 2 is 2, and I'm going to break my ones apart. So I should have 2 in each of my groups. Okay, so and then I finish my problem by multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4. I have none left over. My remainder is 0. And we see up here that we have no blocks left over, right? So according to my long division, I should have 132 in each group. Let's look at our groups. We have 100, 10, 20, 30, 130, 1, 2. 132 in this group. And then let's check over here. We have 100, 10, 20, 30, 130, 1, 2. 132. So I divided 264 into 2 groups, 132 in each group. Okay? So we've done this multiple times. You guys should be pretty comfortable with this type of problem. Well, today we're going to be looking at numbers that have zeros, and that's a little bit more challenging, but we're going to use visuals to help us solve. So for this problem, we have 800 divided by 4. So we have 8 hundreds blocks, and we're going to divide it into 4 equal groups. Okay? So if we're doing our long division, our first step is to take the hundreds and divide it by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I write my 2 up in the quotient, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to divide my 8 hundreds equally. So I should have 2 in each group. Okay? After we divide, we multiply. 4 times 2, 4 times 2 is 8. After we multiply, we subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. We have a new division problem here. 4 divided by 0. Can we do it? No, we cannot. So we need to bring our next digit down, okay? Well, our next digit is also a 0, but we're on the division phase. So we ask ourselves, what is 0 divided by 4? The answer is 0. So we put our 0 up in the quotient. And now we multiply. 0 times 4 is 0. And we subtract just like we always would. 0 minus 0 is 0. We have our new division problem, okay? Can we do 0 divided by 4? No. So we need to bring down our next number. And after we've brought down, we're on the division phase again. So we ask ourselves, what's 0 divided by 4? The answer is 0, okay? So we have 800 divided by 4 is 200. And you might ask yourself, well, I thought that if you can't do 0 divided by 4, you're done. Well, if we were done, all we would have is this 2 in the hundreds place and nothing in the 10 or the ones place. And we have to have something to fill those places. So we fill them with placeholders or with zeros, giving us the answer of 200 in each group. Okay, let's go ahead and look at another example. This example is 606 divided by 2. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and solve. So just like we normally would, we first start with the hundreds. We have 6 hundreds, okay, 600 and 6 ones. And we're dividing it into 2 equal groups, okay? So we're going to look at these hundreds, and we're going to ask ourselves, what's 6 divided by 2? Well, I know that the answer is 3. So I put my 3 in the quotient, and I'm going to move 3 hundreds into each group. So I'm done with my hundreds. They're all gone, but I need to finish my multiplication steps. So I know that 3 times 2 is 6. And I subtract 6 minus 6 is 0. So all my hundreds are done. I have none left over. Okay? Well, I need to bring down my next 0. Okay, so now we've moved on to the tens place. And we brought our 0 down. And we're going to ask ourselves, okay, we have 0 tens. So how many tens are we going to put in each group? Well, the answer is 0. We have no tens up here to put in each group, but we have to put a placeholder in that tens place. We can't just leave it blank. So we put a 0 up here, and then we're going to move on to our 1. So 0 times, so let's move on to our ones. 0 times 2 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, okay? And we're going to go ahead and bring down our ones. We see that we have 6 ones over here, and we need to divide it into 2 equal groups. We all know that 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we write the 3 up in the ones place. And then we're going to go ahead and move 3 ones into each group. And we should see that we have 303 in each of our 2 equal groups. All right, we're going to do one more example problem really quickly. And this one looks a little bit different because we're not going to be using our place value blocks, and you don't see an actual 0 in the problem. So stick with me, we're going to do it together. So our first step is to divide. 9 divided by 9 is 1, okay? Our next step is to multiply. 1 times 9 is 9, and 9 minus 9 is 0. All right, so now we're on to check and compare. When we compare these numbers, we see that 9 is greater than 0. So that means we have to bring down our next number, which is an 8, okay? Okay, so now we have this new problem. We have 8 divided by 9. Well, 8 cannot be divided by 9. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to regroup. And we're going to turn these 8 tens into 80 ones, and we're going to end up having 85 ones total. But because the tens cannot be broken up equally into 9 groups, we put a 0 in the tens place. There are not enough tens to go in each of the 9 groups, so we put a 0 as a placeholder, okay? And then we continue our problem. So we've divided, now we multiply. 0 times 9 is 0. And we subtract. 8 minus 0 is 8. so we still have 8 here, but now we need to bring down the next digit. So now we have 85 ones. And we know that we can break 85 ones into the 9 groups because we know that 9 times 9 is 81. So 81 can go into 85 9 times. So we just did the division step. Now we need to multiply like always. 9 times 9 is 81. After we multiply, we subtract. 85 minus 81 is 4. Okay? And then we ask ourselves, can we do 4 divided by 9? No. Are there any other digits to bring down? No. So that 4 is our remainder. Okay, so your answer is 109, remainder 4. All right, good job, 4th grade.